Hey there, thank you so much for being a part of this week's episode of the Teacher's Show. Last week we spoke about 10 things that you do not need to start. And I'm hoping that just by listening to that video, you were able to demystify the process of starting and actually getting to the point where you realized that all your excuses for not wanting to start were not valid. And so this week's video is a sequel to last week's video. So if you haven't watched it, I really encourage you to go on our YouTube channel, go and search for that video, and please watch it before you watch this video. But if you have actually watched that video, then today we're going to be talking about 10 reasons why you need to expect criticism when you start. Now, when you start, you must always expect two things. You must always expect attention and you must always expect criticism. Now, unfortunately, these two girls are best friends. They always walk together. So you can't get the other without the other. You always get attention and you always get a fair share of criticism. So today, I want to equip you and I want to coach you on how to actually expect criticism so that you know how to deal with it. Now, the first reason why you should expect criticism is when people don't see your vision. And so you've got a picture in your mind and only you can see this picture, and you need to be able to actually take this picture and give it to other people. Jonathan Swift says it so beautifully. He says vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to other people around you. Now, by virtue of that definition on its own, when something is invisible to the people that are around you, then it means that they really can't buy into it unless they fully grasp it. And so because a lot of people around you don't understand what you have received and what you are trying to push, then there will inevitably be criticism because people just don't get it. And so when you find that you have started something and there's a lot of people that are not on board, it could probably be because they have not yet grasped your picture. The second reason why you should expect criticism is when you do not know how to fully articulate your vision. Now, at the beginning, I'm also realizing that I do not really have a perfect understanding and a perfect narrative of what the Teacher's Show is, because I have the vision, but I haven't really trained myself on how to pitch that vision to other people. I remember I went out for ice cream with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, and he asked me about the Teacher's Show, and I kind of didn't really know how to really respond because I haven't really taken the time to dig deep inside. And that's what I'm really realizing about vision. It's that you have to dig really deep inside for you to properly get a well-defined narrative of what you're doing. And so if you don't know how to articulate your vision, then expect criticism. Now, the third reason why you need to expect criticism is when you're coming from humble beginnings. So you're starting small. You don't have all the things that you might necessarily need for your vision to become what you saw it to be. And so because they're humble beginnings, people by nature do not want to be associated to small things. But they also say success has many friends. So be guaranteed, be rest assured that everybody that might not be gunning with you and riding with you right now is gonna jump onto the boat when you actually finally reach your success level. And so because people by nature do not want to be associated with small things, then not a lot of people have the ability to discern potential and to discern how something is going to end up. And because many people don't have that beautiful ability to discern, they are just not gonna come through. They are not going to be a part of your vision, and they will, in most cases, criticize you. And don't take it personal. Sometimes that's just how things are. People just are not going to buy into it until it grows bigger. Now, the fourth reason why you should expect criticism is when people have preconceived expectations. William Shakespeare says it so beautifully. He says, expectation is the root of all heartache. We gave our hearts to people. They broke down our expectation. They didn't meet up our expectation, and we were wounded. Why? Because of expectation. In fact, they say that if you don't want to be disappointed, then don't expect anything. But you see, there are people in our around us, in our lives, that we have strategically positioned in our lives, and they have great expectations of us. And so when we're starting something small and it's still in that phase of humble beginnings, they don't get it. They had this expectation that you were going to be this particular picture that they had in their minds, but you are not becoming what they need you to be. And so because you have different expectations, and because they had a certain expectation of you, they are going to be criticizing you. And sometimes it's not really personal, it's just because they had an expectation that unfortunately was not met. So be ready for such kind of things. Number 5, expect criticism when you don't have a reference point. There is no better example that I can use than the example of Noah. The Bible says that God said to Noah, I'm going to flood this place and I want you to build an ark. And so Noah, for 100 years, is busy trying to convince people around him that God is going to send a flood. But here's the catch. The Bible says that it had never rained ever before. And so people didn't have a reference point. And so when people don't have a reference point, the first thing that they will do is to criticize. Because they can't refer what you're doing to any book. They can't refer it to anyone. They can't refer it to your relatives. They can't refer it to anyone that's in your family. And so ultimately they will criticize you. And expect such kind of criticism. It will come purely because people just don't have a reference point for what you're doing. And if you're a trendsetter, if you're a world changer, if you feel you're a game changer and that you've been sent on purpose to actually change certain areas in this world, in certain arenas, then you need to expect criticism. Number 6, expect criticism when people misunderstand your intentions. People sometimes will create a reason for what you're doing, and then they will stamp it on you, and they will claim that whatever you're doing is because of that reason that they've stamped on it. And it's so funny that many people feel that they are in a position to actually judge motive and judge intention when they have absolutely no relationship with you. And somebody said it ever so beautifully. They said if they don't know you personally, don't take it personally. So there are a lot of people that are going to criticize you that don't know you personally. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know your cause. They don't know your background. But they still, for some weird reason, feel the obligation to just criticize you. Don't take it personally. Number 7, people will criticize you when you do not provide information. With a vision, you must come with information for people to actually buy into it. Now, if you don't know the story, people are not going to know your story. And you need to know your story first because you're the holder and you're the carrier of the vision. You are the visionary. And if the visionary doesn't know the vision, then I don't know who knows the vision. So you need to be able to know your story very well. You need to be able to conceptualize it. You need to know your narrative. You need to be able to actually articulate it to somebody else. And so if you're in that situation where you haven't given people the right information and people are criticizing you, then maybe this is the right time to actually go and say, hey, this is what I stand for, and ultimately give them the option to actually buy into it or just not buy into it, because sometimes it's just okay for people not to buy into it. Don't take it personally. Number 8, expect people to criticize you when there's a generational gap. Now listen, there is gonna be people that are older than you that are going to criticize you purely because they think you are younger. Then there's going to be people who are your age that are going to criticize you purely because, oh well, you're my age and I'm not doing it, so why must you do it? And there are going to be people that are younger than you that are going to criticize you purely because, oh well, you're way too old to be doing what you're doing. Maybe leave it to us. So everybody in the spectrum of different generations is just going to find a reason to criticize you if they want to criticize you. So never take generational gap as a reason why people must criticize you or why people must have a reason why what you're doing is not valid. Go for it anyways. The 9th reason why you should expect criticism is when you are establishing something before your critics have actually established it. I don't know if you have ever started something and somebody had an intention to start something similar to that or exactly like that, and people just don't buy into it because, oh well, I wanted to start it and you went ahead and started it before me. And I don't know what it is about a human being's heart, but they just don't want to buy into it in that scenario, in that situation. It's just like, it's so hard to support somebody who's doing something that you have always wanted to do, but you probably haven't had the guts to do. And so it's human nature, and you must get to a point where you are okay with the fact that there are people that are just purely going to criticize you because of that. And the last but not least reason why people are going to criticize you is when you have gone behind your critics. So your critics have gone before you, right? And you've gone behind them, but you have actually accomplished more in a shorter space of time. There is just something about that situation that is just wrong. That is just not nice. When somebody comes way after you, but they accomplish so much more than you in a shorter space of time. I was speaking about favor recently on my Facebook status, and I say favor is so unfair. That's why when it happens, a lot of people are offended, a lot of people are wounded. Because when you go ahead of many people and you actually go ahead and you go after many people, but you accomplish much more, there's just something about that situation that is really a cause for many critics to rise up. And I'm hoping that from the 10 things that I've given to you, that when you meet up with them, that you're going to remember. I really hope that the teacher is going to bring unto remembrance these 10 reasons why they could be criticizing you, and that at that point and in that particular moment, you're going to choose not to take it personally, and that you're going to choose to become the bigger man, that you're going to choose to rise up, and that you're just going to choose to not allow that particular criticism to deter your mission. I'm hoping this has been helpful and that you've been encouraged, and I'm hoping that in whatever that you're doing, that you're going to be the very best, and that God is just going to honor your effort, and that it's going to increase and expand your territory. Be blessed, keep well, and join me in the next episode. Goodbye.